In this video, we're going to make sure that our color screen component has a state variable and can also generate a color randomly. Before we do that, let's just make sure that we understand how we can make a view or some kind of element that's going to display like a plain box underneath it with some given color. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to come to my color screen. Underneath my button, I'm going to add in a view element. And to this thing, I'm going to hard code a style. So I'm going to put in a manual object inside of here. Now, why are we adding in a style directly to this view rather than creating it inside of our style sheet? Well, we're adding it in directly because we want to generate this style object on the fly. We don't know exactly what style we want to apply just yet because we're going to be randomly generating the color. So inside the style object, I'm going to first give this view a height, and I'll give it a fixed height of 100, a fixed width of 100, and then I'll give it a background color. And that's where our color is going to come from. So I'll give this thing an RGB value. Once again, we're going to designate a 000 or whatever color values we want for RGB. So in this case, I'll do like 0, 255, and 0. Okay, so I'll save that. And then back over here, I'll go to my color demo. And now I can see a bright green box. So in this case, I said essentially the 255 means give me a lot of green and don't give me any red or any blue at all. So that's how we're going to show one of these different boxes. And as you can see, the only thing that we really need to generate on the fly is that string right there. Before worrying about state too much, let's try to create a little helper function inside this file that's going to allow us to generate a random string like that, or I should say a string with that with some random colors inside of it. So underneath my component definition, I'm going to create a new helper function called random RGB. Then inside of here, I'm going to generate a random value for red, for green, and blue. So I'll say const red will be math.random, so that's going to give us a random number between 0 and 1. I'll multiply it by 256. Normally RGB values scale from 0 to 255, but we'll watch what we do here. We're going to multiply by 256. That will give us a value all the way between 0 and 256. And I'll do a math.floor. Like so. So in the end, we should end up between 0 and 255. Technically, we could end up with a 256 here if we got essentially an exact 1 out of math.random, but we're essentially not going to worry about that. So now I'm going to do this 3 times. 1 for red, 1 for green, and 1 for blue. Then after that, I'm going to return a template string. A template string is formed with backticks, so that's not a single quote right there, that's a backtick character. And then inside there, I'll say RGB. And then I want to essentially inject or interpolate these variables red, green, and blue. To do so, I'll put in a $sign, curly braces, and then inside there I'll put red, then a comma, another set of curly braces with a $sign and green, another comma, and then one more set and blue like so. And now finally, we can make use of this random RGB function by calling it from random color right here, or excuse me, background color. So instead of the hard-coded RGB value, I'll instead call random RGB. Okay, so let's save this once again. And now if I go back to my color demo, I should see a random color on here. If I refresh my application, if you're on the simulator, you can hit Command R, or if you're on Android, you can do simply RR. So I'm going to do that right now. If you're on a physical device, you can shake the device, and there will be an option that appears that says refresh or restart application. So once we do that, we can then click on Go to Color Demo again, and we'll now see a very different color appear on here. Okay, so now we clearly have the ability to generate some random colors. So now the last thing we need to do is make sure that we initialize our piece of state inside of our color screen function. We're going to make sure that we add a new random color to that piece of state every time a user taps on that button. So let's take care of that in the next video.